Hey there. Let's take a look at a couple of Swiss Army knives. Now, you may know about Swiss Buck knives, but Swiss Buck knives was really kind of a marketing collaboration between Wenger of Switzerland and Buck Knives of the USA, where Wenger made knives in Switzerland. They have the Wenger tang stamp and all that, but they were marketed under the Buck name here in the US from 1991 to 1998. And so they came in, I think, 14 different models with different tool combinations, four different sizes, and we're looking at two of the larger ones that are based on the Wenger Ranger series. So these are a 120 millimeter knives, about 4 and 7/8 inches long in the closed position. And the first one we're looking at here, it's a 3-layer knife, and it was sold as a Swiss Mate 3. But it's very similar to the Ranger 6, which was also referred to as the Mountaineer. Now, what makes this kind of distinctively Swiss buck are these grooved nylon scales. So they've got these cuts in them on both sides that allow you to get a nice grippy purchase here. And then there's kind of a metallic buck sticker applied to both sides. That's really the only difference on the larger size models. All the smaller size models also had clip point blades, whereas the Wengers might have a spear point blade, the Swiss Bucks had a clip point blade. Of course, all the larger 120 millimeter Rangers, the original Rangers from Wenger, had the clip point anyway. So these do have the large clip point blade. As you can see, it's a beautiful blade. It's quite large. It is locking. You have the slide lock mechanism here on the side where you pull it back toward you and it pulls the locking liner over to release the blade. It's very intuitive and it's very safe. You're not going to accidentally pull that back, I think, when you're working with the knife, and it looks like a really solid lockup. Wenger actually, with their Ranger series, that was the first time they introduced a locking blade on Swiss Army knives. Wenger actually sold the old Ranger series from 1990 to 2007, all the way up to 2007, when they came out with the new Ranger series, the 130 millimeter knives. But Swiss Bucks, again, were sold just from 1991 to 1998. So they're not really vintage knives, but they're certainly discontinued or retired, and as such are really quite collectible. Now, in addition to that nice big blade we just looked at, this model, the Swiss Mate 3, has a large wood saw, double-toothed wood saw, made with typical Swiss precision. They're very, very effective. And some opening tools. The Wenger style can opener, and a very long screwdriver, cap lifter, wire bender. And this does have the Wenger patented pressure lock system, I call it. See their EP patent, European patent. But when you press down on this really hard, it moves in just a hair and locks in place so it can't collapse when you're using it under pressure. It's a really neat system. Nothing to push to release it, which makes it really nice. So, you can be using it and it's locked up, but then when you want to put it away, you don't have to mess with a liner lock or something. So in addition to those top layer tools, on the back, the Swiss Mate 3 and also the Mountaineer had a Phillips driver, a nice long reach Phillips driver. And then Wenger's unsharpened punch are all there with this sewing eye. And I always like this cutout. It just makes it so easy to get to the nail nick to open that. And then they all had a key ring as well. So that's the Swiss Mate 3. This other one on the table here is a 4-layer knife. And even though we're going up a layer, we're going down a number. This was the Swiss Mate 2, also known as the Workman. And this was most similar to the old Ranger 04 or the Everest. And so that's a very popular model to collect. And so the difference is, and you get one more layer, of course, and in that layer there is an inline Phillips driver. And it's very thick, it's very sturdy, and it also has that patented pressure lock system. So that's very nice. When you're really bearing down on a screw there, that won't fold, pinch your fingers, or collapse. And then it has a pair of pliers. Now these are Wenger pliers. You can see there they have the nice beefy captive spring bar, so you don't have to worry about that getting out of place or breaking like a little leaf spring might. You can see here that they have a scored gripping tip. They're knurled here for nuts and bolts, and there is a wire cutting capability down below that. Now these are the slip joint pliers, so you can move them over like this, and now you can grab something, a nut or a bolt a little bigger, move them over like this, and they're much tighter. These are very capable, but they're not full-size pliers, obviously, so you're not going to be doing a lot of heavy mechanics work with these, but these are great for things that your fingers are just not strong enough to do. You know, really gripping something, bending something, pulling on something, turning something. They can come in really, really handy. It's a great tool to have. And then this one has a corkscrew instead of a Phillips driver. And again, the awl and the key ring. Okay, so again, these are larger knives. They're really a little too big for your pocket at 120 millimeters, which is just about 5 inches, about 4 7/8 inches closed. And of course, you know, this one's a 4-layer model, so it'd be a little too big for your pocket, but it's great for a bag or toolbox, a glove compartment, something like that. These two examples are on loan from Dave Arnold's collection. I want to thank him for letting me borrow these and make a video of them side by side. I have made a video of a Swiss buck before. I believe it was one of the smaller ones, the Taskmate 2. I'll put the link for that video in the description box below if you want to go check that out, as well as a video on an older Wenger Ranger 06 Mountaineer. So here are two Swiss buck, Swiss mates from the 1990s in excellent condition. Thanks for watching.